OH number is 12143. There's a couple different things going on. We've got our house right through here. We got a sump pump that goes in the ground. I question whether or not that filtered into the earth. We've got our septic tank, which the line runs this way to a diverting valve where you flip it from one leach line to the other every 6 months. We've already switched that over. Now it looks like over through this area is one section of the leach line, and then I swear that there's another one all through here. So one line there, one line there. This whole yard, it may not do a whole lot of justice, but the yard flows downward towards that side of the property. You can see how the grass is real thick through here, and it is soft and wet to the, I don't know if you can hear it, but as I walk it's squishing. So then we've got all this. Heck, there's water moving probably from where I'm walking out here. But you can see the white and black everywhere is sludge. It smells like raw sewage. So you've got all that up in this area. So now you can kind of see there's the house, and right there is the septic. Again, the septic runs this way to the line where you can divert it, and then I assume that it just makes a loop and comes down through this section. Now when I back up through here, you can almost see each finger in the line. There's one that comes down through here. The other one, I'm sure it comes back around and loops, and then through here. So I believe the water is leaching and just slowly running down. It's stair-stepped, and then it happens to be puddling there. I'm almost positive that the leach line's working as it should. I think the problem is we have so much groundwater coming over to this area that it's causing the leach to not work. So here's the other section. One of these two sections wouldn't have had water on it unless they're both connected and maybe there's a leach line in the side yard. But either way, this is completely saturated through here. I can't see no evidence of sludge or sewage, but it's definitely saturated. Not near as bad, but it is. And of course, this is the lowest point. I feel like this is a constant issue because you can see in the neighbor's yard right about here is a grate that catches water. It's kind of like a catch basin. And then their yard dips down through here, and they've got a little bridge, probably because that section of the ground is always soft. So I'm gonna walk around back through there. All through this area, it's also soft. I guess you can see a little bit of water and mud puddling through there. But again, this mud don't smell like sewage. It's just sopping wet. And at my feet, as I walk through here, I sink probably about a ½ inch. Not enough to where my feet is getting, stuck and creating a suction to get my foot up out of the ground. But that may only be because there's a bunch of grass. So the grass is healthy through that area. So as I walk out to the back of the property, I was thinking that maybe that sump pump was discharging into the yard. And it may still be, but it almost looks like it isn't. Unless this line is not their sump pump line and it's somebody else's. But so here's what I found. Out here, there's PVC down there. You can see constant water. Heck, I can see the crawdads floating around in there. You can see the constant water coming through there. This was just kind of sitting down in there. I removed it and took out a bunch of dirt out of that pipe, and then tried to channel, or dig the channel that was already existing through here so that the water would flow the path it was trying to. Now this may be beyond the property line, but you can see I'm at the back of the property. This ground here is lower than what it is up there. But this is our channel for somebody's sump pump line. Could very well be the house that I'm at. It could very well be another house. It could be the back of the property behind it. So anyway, so all that water finally gets to here. And through the trees over there was the area that I was standing at when I pointed and said, this is where I'm heading. The reason I wanted to come back here is because this stagnant water that's sitting over here, I kind of moved it around a little bit, and you can see the black sludge in it. For granted, I didn't smell this, but I've already cleaned up. It may just be rotted leaves and whatnot. It may not be the sewage. But that septic tank is right, not the tank, but the area is like right over in here. Because right here is that shed that we were looking at. I do believe that part of the yard is extremely low. It looks as if everything around here flows. I mean, this is uphill here. The grade is downward to this area. And of course, this area out here is so saturated. Every time I took a scoop with my shovel, there were crawdads in it. Like every chunk of mud. Like if I was to dig into these pieces of clumps of mud right here, there's probably still crawdads in it. Which to me says this darn thing acts like a river, or a small creek with a constant water flow. Every time I moved the grass, there was spiders that would jump out of it and start skipping across the water. And I would bet if we sit here and watch, we can see a crawdad right through there. It's a little tiny thing. He was down inside there. I guess my point is, one, we're extremely low through here, and this is constant. You see how there's just channels and channels of water through here. But again, everything kind of grades upward. And then from this yard, it looks somewhat flat, but everything goes up from there. So I think we've got a couple different issues. One, all our groundwater that's coming down through here, hitting into the earth, along with our leach lines, which with a combination with the groundwater and the leaching, it's not leaching as it should. So the lines are working, but because the ground's saturated, they are not working. I'm sure there's several different ways to go about this. My first thought was taking that sump pump around out front, but I don't think that it's distributing into the yard. I believe that line that we've seen out in the back of the property is a sump pump for this house. So then that kind of eliminates that doing anything at all for us. So then my next thought is that we may have to put in like a mound system, or maybe there needs to be more line in the ground. In Clark County, they require 500 foot per bedroom. They don't do it based on bath, because obviously several people use the same bath. They base it on how many people can actually live there. They may very well do the same thing down here. There may be sufficient amount of leach line in the ground. I know that from what the homeowner was resident was telling me, is that line hasn't been switched since roughly a year ago, and they're supposed to be switched every 6 months so that you can put some of the leaching on this line, on this section, and some of the leaching on this section. You just have to alternate them. So at any rate, I wanted to do the video to try to give somebody an understanding of what I'm seeing, and maybe it would help the next person.